semifinal number 2. Utah and North Carolina with the winner to face Kentucky on Monday night. And welcome back, everybody. I'm Jim Nance. North Carolina, the only #1 seed to make it to the Final Four. Its 5th Final Four of the 90s. For Utah, its first Final Four since 1966. And the Utes made it here by knocking out defending national champion Arizona by 25 in the West Regional Final. Out in the East, North Carolina went through Hartford and then on to Greensboro, beating UConn in the regional final. We've got North Carolina and Utah in game 2 here. Billy, what do you think?
Well, I think we have a situation again, contrasting styles. Let's hope they give us a game just like the one we had before. Now, one of the things Utah does as well as anybody in the country is rebound the basketball. Rick Majerus is really a great teacher of rebounding. Doliak there on the inside. Now they have also the triple-double man. Miller, who had the incredible triple-double against Arizona, one of the great performances in NCAA history. And also field goal percentage defense. Utah does a great job holding opponents under 39%. When you think of North Carolina, you've got to think of the player of the year, Antawn Jamison. Great hands, quick shots inside, tough to stop. Free throw shooting. Right here, Shammond Williams, a 91% free throw shooter, and North Carolina stays on the line. And they have one of the great floor leaders in college basketball, Ed Cota, who can score and dish for the best.
Well, we've got Rick Majerus and Bill Guthridge, the two coaches on the sideline, with their comments about this matchup.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Alamo Dome in San Antonio for tonight's second semifinal championship game between the Utah Utes and the North Carolina Tar Heels. Now let's meet the starting lineup. At forward for Utah, number 13, the 6'10 sophomore from Helsinki, Finland, Henno Metala. At a forward for North Carolina, number 13, the 6'9 junior from Berlin, Germany, Ademola Okulaja. At a forward for Utah, number 50, a 6'9 sophomore from Centerville, Utah, Alex Jensen. At forward for North Carolina, number 33, a 6'9 junior from Charlotte, North Carolina, Antawn Jamison. At center, number 51 for Utah, a 6'11 senior from Portland, Oregon, Michael Doliak. At center for North Carolina, number 4, a 6'9 senior from Dakar, Senegal, Makhtar Jai. At a guard for Utah, number 24, a 6'2 senior from Los Angeles, California, Andre Miller. At guard for North Carolina, number 5, a 6'1 sophomore from Brooklyn, New York, Ed Cota. At guard for Utah, number 34, a 6'5 senior from Tooele, Utah, Drew Henson. And a guard for North Carolina, number 15, a 6'6 junior from Daytona Beach, Florida, Vince Carter. The two head coaches, Rick Majerus in his 14th year for Utah, Bill Guthridge his first year at North Carolina.
For Bill Guthridge, it's his 13th Final Four. 11 as an assistant to Dean Smith, 1 as a player at Kansas State, and now his first as a head coach. Second for Rick Majerus, Final Four that is. He was an assistant to Al McGuire back in 1977, where 21 years ago today, Marquette beat North Carolina in the championship game. Here are the Packer points now for game 2.
Well, king of the boards. Both of these teams been very good on the boards. You had a situation where Utah had a 10-board advantage over their opponents, and in the NCAA tournament, North Carolina has 11 advantage. The nation's best. We're talking about Antawn Jamison from North Carolina. A tough man to stop, so quick on the inside. Point number 3, the transition game. Obviously, like in the first game, favored Kentucky. In this, favors North Carolina. Can Rick Majerus turn this into a half-court contest? That'll be a key. Point guard supreme, 2 of the best point guards in the United States. Miller versus Cota. That's going to be some matchup.
officials to call this semifinal game. Flaherty, Patillo, and Rutledge. Utah 29-3 on the year, the first WAC team to make it to the Final Four since '66 when Utah was here last. Carolina in the white uniforms, 34-3. And it goes to Utah first. Which team will play Kentucky for the championship Monday?
Jai on Doliak down inside. There'll be a lot of banging by Jai.
Medela with an open three, and it rattles home.
That extends the North Carolina defense. Keeps Jamison outside on him. Have to play honest. Keeps him off the defensive boards.
Heard so much about the triangle and two. What's Utah coming out with here?
Straight man-to-man.
Jai with the hook shot and a rebound to Jensen.
Good job by Medela getting up on the boards.
Miller pushes it up, kicks it out, three-point shot, and it's good. Drew Hansen. Utah comes right out with a couple of threes.
Rick Majerus certainly taking what is available early. Post-up move inside by Carter.
Carter, what a move. Off the glass with the left hand.
He's much too quick on the inside for Hansen. That is a matchup which, even though Hansen's a good defender, he's never faced that kind of quickness.
Doliak in and out. No, that was Medela in and out. Get it inside again, Jamison.
Jamison so quick getting that ball up. Catches and delivers in a hurry, usually on the way up on his jump shot.
Doliak, the center hits it.
How about this?
They call it a two.
That's not surprising. It is a two, but Doliak is 12 for 31 from three on the year. Pick and roll action.
Carter, three-pointer.
Good block out by Hansen.
That is Utah's specialty.
It really is. They are so well schooled in blocking out.
Look at Doliak beat him down court and one. An absolute spillover from the Arizona game here at the start.
Jai looking for help in there. He just didn't hustle getting back in there. Now, Jamon Williams comes into the game. People say, well, how can this guy playing so well not be a starter, Jim? But not unusual for North Carolina.
They have 6 starters, and they go in alphabetical order.
And this was not Williams' turn.
No, but that means if they get to Monday night, he gets to start. Doliak does not finish the three-point play. That would mean Carter would not start on Monday night for Carolina.
An 82% free throw shooter, so very good from the line.
Shimon right out, firing.
Good block out again by Hansen, and that time he had Okalaja.
But they're going to call it on Utah.
He had Okalaja with his elbow and was still able to catch the ball.
Jensen whistled for that one. Sophomore.
Here we'll see the foul. Jamon Williams trying to go up, and there you can see the push by Hansen. Pretty easy call.
Jai outside.
North Carolina not getting any offensive pattern going whatsoever.
Look at Miller pushing it up. No foul. Tipped over by Jai to a teammate, Okalaja.
How about Coder? Coder realized that he had a man behind him.
Jamison short.
2 in a row now that Jamison's had his shot off him. Miller really pushing the ball.
Yeah, they're not slowing it down, and Miller takes it all the way for the lay-in.
Bill Guthridge is not one of those coaches that likes to call timeout to stem the tide early on.
The biggest tournament deficit for North Carolina. It had trailed UNC Charlotte by 8 for its previous biggest deficit.
Utah showing some very good defense. And what's interesting to me is North Carolina taken totally out of what they'd like to run. You saw Jai taking a shot. There's a shot by Cota, not his normal shot.
Carolina, Billy, 1 of 8 from the field at the start.
Well, Jim, anytime you're taking bad shot selection by the wrong guys, 2 things happen. Your percentages are going to go down, and the other thing is you get very few offensive rebounds because your teammates don't expect you to be taking a shot.
They bring in David Jackson, sophomore from Portland, in for Hansen. Jackson played 25 big minutes against Arizona last week.
He's is on Williams.
Williams carried it. Yeah. So often now they let the college players get away with that. You see it often in the NBA, never a whistle there.
Right.
But you see it leaking into the college game, and it's upsetting.
Well, both Miller and Cota are guys that have it down to a science. That time, you saw Williams had the ball actually right on his hip.
Jordy McTavish, number 11, in for Utah.
And North Carolina goes zone. Matching up out of the 2-3. North Carolina uses this defense a lot.
Goliak by Jamison, rejected by Jai. Shot clock still running down to 10. 7 on the shot clock. McTavish has spotted it. He saw the shot clock. Releases back to the rim. Okalaja, the only man underneath.
Pretty good defensive set that time by North Carolina in the zone.
Jai into the lane, taken away by the Utes.
Jai having a very poor start of this ball game, Jim, in regard to his decision processes.
Taking some bad shots,
Bad
too.
shots, bad passes, nothing there. Didn't get back down on defense when Goliak put the ball away. Goliak's got him sealed right now. They ought to get him the ball. North Carolina goes back to their man-to-man.
McTavish, 3 from the corner. A 13-point lead for Utah.
Good double down recognition by Utah. McTavish just standing out there waiting for the shot. Rick Majerus going to his bench early here, Jim. Terrific job by Utah so far.
Jamison missed underneath, but forget about that one.
There's that quickness. Goliak a little winded right now.
Next dead ball will be an official timeout. Goliak got position on Jai, and they don't give him the clean block.
Well, what's happening? Goliak down in that low, Jim. He's only about 3 feet away from the rim. A solid post-up move, very well drilled. Jai in no position whatsoever to defend him there.
And Jai has 2 fouls in the game's first 5 minutes.
You see where he is? He's posted up. He's got Jai in his back. You have no chance to handle a 6'11" postman. That's 2 feet from the basket.
Goliak, all whack, leads the team in scoring and rebounding, and he was born right here in San Antonio. Went to high school in Portland, Oregon. His grandparents still live here in the Alamo City.
What do you think that the Arizona players are saying, Jim? This team's a lot better than what we thought. Terrific job by Utah to get started.
And North Carolina has found that out in the first 5 minutes. Utah storming in front, 17-4. Some amazing stats on Utah. It has not allowed a team this year to shoot 50% from the field. And it's also #1 in the nation in rebounding margin. And in fact, only 2 opponents scored more than 70 points in a game against Utah all season long. New Mexico and Weber State.
Jim, I'd like to point out right here, not only is Utah doing a great job, but North Carolina actually has helped them by not getting in offensive sets at all. Wrong guys taking shots at the wrong time. Let's see if they make any adjustment here.
Utah made 1 sub. Britton Johnson, a freshman in, and Carter gets his 2nd basket from the inside. All 3 Carolina baskets have been layups or dunks. That
was the movement inside Carter and Jamison. Cota with a great dish. North Carolina goes back to the 2-3 zone, matching up.
Britton Johnson, freshman, tipped out long to Cota.
Looking to run, Jamison great on the break.
Okalaja on the bounce pass, only perfect by Cota.
You know what happened right there? Jamison was almost a decoy for Cota running to his left. That opened up the lane for Okalaja. And North Carolina with a score stays in the zone. Johnson pretty active as a freshman coming up into the center of that zone, but then not turning and face looking for the shot. A lot of talking by North Carolina in that zone.
Medela hits the side of the backboard, and no new shot clock. They must look up. Miller doesn't realize it. One on the shot clock, now fired at it. And Johnson rebounds. That's goaltending.
How about Johnson? He stayed with the game on both occasions, kept the ball alive twice, got it back for Utah for a basket.
And how about Miller? He didn't realize it till the last moment. Got it off just in time.
North Carolina all stood around looking at the loose ball. Nobody went for it. Now Williams takes over the point. No jump defenses by Utah in this game, Jim. Just straight, hard-nosed, man-to-man.
As Majerus told us yesterday, that's what this team really loves to play, and that's what this season was built on. Good old-fashioned man-to-man defense. 10 on the shot clock for Carolina. Down 11.
They're going to go inside to Jameson.
Medela. Nope. Well, just she's defenseless when Jameson.
Really is. The leading scorer and rebounder in the ACC this year. Last year he was #2 in both categories behind Tim Duncan.
Hanson, this will be a travel. Goliak will return for the Utes.
And Rick Majerus showing some confidence in the bench. You know, really, with that working margin, I'm sure he'd like to have kept Goliak on the floor because he was doing so well in the low post-up moves. But Rick Majerus realized this is a 40-minute game. He's got to rest him some.
He's already played 8 players.
I think North Carolina can really go inside to Jameson.
Takes the jumper this time, and Hanson comes in to get the board.
And look at Goliak. Pushed it Jameson down underneath the basket. Really getting good low post position.
Johnson wildly puts it up. And last touch by Carolina.
Johnson so aggressive in this basketball game, Jim. Driving to the basket, getting rebounds.
He's got a brother who was on the team last year that made it to the final 8. His brother Jeff, who's on a Mormon mission to France. The Utah team that made it all the way to the final 8, only to be eliminated at the San Jose West Final by Kentucky last year.
He was a high school All-American. He's had a pretty good, he missed 8 weeks to start the season. Good turnaround jumping.
Goliak, he averages 16 a game. He's already got 8.
He is feasting on jive. Carter thinks he's got an advantage on Jensen. Jensen's fighting over the top nicely.
Williams passes inside. Carter.
Oh, how does he do it?
And Jai with a little shove to Johnson.
And now I think it's going to be Jameson on the shove. Did they call a foul or just a warning?
Just a warning. Cota will come back in for Carolina, but there's a timeout on the floor. Utah leads it 21-12. Rick Majerus in his 9th year at Utah just turned 50 last month. Friends say his greatest trait is his loyalty to his players, friends, and family. When he first arrived at Utah, 6 games into his career, he had to undergo a heart operation, a 7-way bypass. As he explained it, 1 for every food group. But he is really something else in first-round games. Given time to prepare his team, has a remarkable record. Never lost in the first round.
Exactly. And you talk about loyalty to friends, Jim. He went a step too far here at the Final Four in this respect. I understand there are 3 or 4 old buddies of his sleeping in his hotel room. I mean, please, Rick.
He hasn't got
one of them probably Al McGuire, who's too cheap to spring for a room. There's the man-to-man. North Carolina showing zone and man-to-man. Johnson, not shy for a freshman.
And he nails the 3.
Sometimes that happens. You know, a freshman in some cases can freeze up. In other cases, he just explodes. He doesn't even understand the pressure.
Jive with another outside shot. Tipped out to Cota.
White is holding. They're going to call a foul on Carter, who was down underneath Miller.
Near the conclusion of this game and every tournament game, Chevrolet selects the genuine Chevrolet most valuable player from each team. To date, Chevrolet has contributed 6.5 million to scholarship funds. Medela back in for Jensen.
Jim, when you start talking about how Utah plays and how tough it is to score against them, North Carolina's getting in dangerous territory here at the 10-minute mark. They have got to make a move. A 10-point lead or a 12-point lead by Utah is like a 15-8 in a normal game situation. So these possessions, even though the game's fairly early, are very important. Again?
Yes, why not? Johnson. Miller jumps in to tip it. Carolina ball.
Rick Majerus may have to talk to the freshman and say, you know, calm down. There will be other days.
They did make the last one.
Oh, I understand. Sometimes they can get carried away with their own enthusiasm.
Billy Guthridge. His 58 Kansas State team played in the Final Four and lost, in fact, to Elgin Baylor's Seattle team. Bill Guthridge did not get in that game.
Again, Doliak with a nice job on his part, making Jamison take the tough shot.
Utah fans upset. They called Medela for a push-off. His first.
I think what Jamison is going to have to do is try to get close to Doliak and not get away from him. In other words, get close and then spin off him. He's trying to play away from him. Doliak taking advantage of that. The quicker you are, the closer you want to be to your defender and then explode by.
Here they go, lobbing it inside.
Johnson, good defensive play. Carter normally finishes that.
Carolina has now matched the all-time record for Final Four appearances with 14, tying UCLA. Second all-time in victories, second only to Kentucky, and we could possibly have the all-time winningest teams meeting in the championship on Monday night. Either that or Kentucky and Utah will meet for the 4th time in the last 6 NCAA tournaments. That's rather bizarre. Williams.
Good defense again. They're not giving Williams any good looks, and he can remember to just a year ago against Arizona where he couldn't make anything. Doliak on a push.
Doliak's first. Just the 4th team foul on Utah. Carolina has been whistled for 3.
Jim Williams, who has played so well throughout this postseason, but last year against Arizona, he was 1 for 13. You remember that?
And he's 0 for 2 tonight.
And he was 1 for 7 against Connecticut from 3. Another good defensive play by Utah.
Medela tipped it out to midcourt. Williams, no travel, steps in, rattles out.
Good job by Utah. Again on the board. That's the palm.
No call, and Miller's shot bounces in. He had it on the hip also.
Without question. It's that delay dribble that both Cota and Miller use. There's the lob.
Over the top, and they get it to Jamison. No basket. No basket. Foul first on the outside, and it'll be the 2nd foul on Doliak.
You see some real panic in North Carolina's eyes on the court right now. As I said, they can look up at this scoreboard and see they're not moving in the right direction. Great job by Miller. Well, much like Turner, Wayne Turner from Kentucky, not afraid to take it inside.
Carolina's biggest deficit, 14. Doliak to the bench with 2. Carter, 3-pointer.
North Carolina not even coming close to hitting anything from the outside.
Miller looking for, this time he's called for a double dribble.
Tough break for Miller because he ran right into the back of a Carolina defender. And the reason for that is there was a little holdup getting back down court. I'm really surprised that North Carolina has not been able to get into any pattern of offense in this game, Jim.
They missed all 5 of their shots from 3-point land.
Right, it's one isolated shot after another. There's no continuity to what they're trying to do.
Jamison leaning in.
Not a good shot. Look at the blocking out, and there's going to be Jai. And look at the North Carolina players are losing their cool. No question about it.
And that's the 3rd on Jai. And they were going to sub him anyway, but they didn't get in Haywood in time. Brendan Haywood, the 7-foot freshman from Greensboro. Okalaja also comes back.
Think about this North Carolina team. They lost to overtime at Maryland in a great basketball game. The surprising loss to NC State. And then, of course, the one loss to Duke at Duke. Other than that, this team has won them all, 34 wins.
And twice beating Duke in the other games against the Devils.
Right. Here's that 2-3 zone again. Pretty nice move by Medela. Good patience by Utah. Johnson and Medela flashing into the 2-3 zone.
Miller now penetrates.
Oh, so beautiful.
The bounce.
So beautiful on that reverse dribble.
Coming off the triple-double, the perhaps single best performance by any player in this tournament.
Considering the game and the opponent, Jim, I would agree with you. Another good defensive play.
Almost got the steal. Quick hands of Carter, got it back. Carolina has missed its last 6 shots. Haywood. Too strong, tips it in though.
Now we have another freshman coming off of the bench doing the job for North Carolina.
And you really like Haywood's prospects down the line.
Yes, I do. He hasn't had a lot of playing time, but I think the young man's got a lot of potential. Today may be the day he's going to have to take that potential and turn it into performance.
Well, they've already got Jai on the bench with 3.
North Carolina loves to pin you on the baseline. Good help by Miller to create a passing lane.
Jackson, line drive 3. And Okalaja with a good job of boxing out. Carter, best 3-point percentage on the Carolina team, steps in for a 2.
That's long to the right. Boy, Carter not doing anything with his shot.
Miller challenges Carter, and outside, Carter pumped him with the body.
How about what Miller does, Jim? You never know if he's going to take it all the way, whether he's going to use his reverse dribble on you, whether he's going to use the delayed dribble. He's not afraid to take it in, even against the Carter.
He's got another one of those games going, 6 points, 6 rebounds. Utah doubling up the heels. All of Carolina's points are coming in the paint. I say all of them. It's only 14, just about a point per minute.
Well, Utah, Jim, really ahead of schedule as to what they normally do to opponents. I'd like to point out something, too, about the state of Texas for North Carolina.
Not good here, is it?
In '86, they played Louisville and Houston. They lost that game in the NCAA tournament. '90, they lost to Arkansas. '95, they lost to Texas, a game we did down at Austin. So 0 for 3 right there. And I am really surprised to see a team that has been so good in regard to orchestrating their offense be thrown completely off track by this tough man-to-man by Utah. Very unlikely.
Inbounds, trying to get it to Medela. He wanted a foul call.
Well, Haywood did a pretty good job with his body.
Over the top, Jamison doubled up.
Well, how does he get that shot off? Medela did a terrific job on defense, and he still got it up.
Little shovel scoop by Jamison. He has 6.
Clear out. Jensen doesn't look to take Jamison. Medela can shoot that jumper out there. I think he's got an advantage on Haywood.
Jensen now will take the shot. Open 3. You bet.
That was the mismatch. A good job by Utah to recognize what was going on. Jamison's got to understand he's got to go out and play him.
5 of 11 from 3 for the Utes.
Doubling down, North Carolina really starting to panic here. It's amazing to watch a veteran team do this.
Facing now its biggest deficit. It's been increased to 15. Jamison again.
And look at the blocking out on the inside by all of those red shirts.
And Jamison tackled Miller, it looked like.
There's frustration out here, Jim. Even if you're the National Player of the Year, you realize you're being defended to the point where you're getting frustrated.
Jordy McTavish, sophomore from Salmon Arm, British Columbia, comes in for the Utes.
Well, the last time Rick Majerus was on the sideline in this kind of situation, he was, as you pointed out, Jim, an assistant. Marquette played North Carolina. North Carolina finally got control of that game and decided to go 4 corners, one of their traditional moves. Marquette stayed back in their zone, and it was North Carolina that broke. So Rick Majerus seems to be very confident on that sideline.
again, was 21 years ago today. David Jackson, Manila, no doubt.
He knows it.
On the back of the 7-foot Haywood, and that's the second on Manila.
North Carolina getting some solid minutes out of Haywood here. There's Tubby Smith walking out with reporters, getting a big hand.
Yeah, Kentucky fans, immediate standing ovation. Coda drives, puts it up over McTavish.
There's another push. Hansen got stuck inside, and I think it's going to be on Hansen, not Medela.
And that would be a big call against Medela.
No, I think it's going to be Hansen.
No, it's on Medela. His third.
Jameson's going to go to the line. Let me mention something about Jameson. I think it's well documented how his father moved up to Charlotte, North Carolina because of Hurricane Hugo. Antoine moved up with the family. They kind of not felt comfortable in Charlotte. His father built him a backboard that supposedly was about 11 feet high. Now, kind of interesting here. When you shoot at a higher backboard, you have to put more arc on the ball. And I'm not so sure that that wasn't what helped him develop this very unique inside shooting style he has of putting the ball high up on the glass.
I could just see dads across the country tonight when this one ends, going outside and cranking up that goal, an extra foot. Jameson short.
North Carolina not playing with any confidence whatsoever in this ball game.
Miller. Jameson. And will it be Haywood?
In either case, Miller's going to go to the line. He's just beaming with confidence out there. Jim, the last triple-double that I can remember at a Final Four was Magic Johnson's, the game against the University of Pennsylvania in the Final Four. This young man's on target again to have 2 in a row. Would that be amazing?
That was on Haywood, Billy. That would indeed. Andre Miller.
Magic had 2 triple-doubles in 1979 in the NCAA tournament. 1 in the Final Four.
Miller's got a chance for the old double-double by halftime. 7 rebounds for the 6'2" guard. Believed to be the first triple-double in Utah history. Coda comes back. Haywood out.
And here with 4:40 to go, if you're North Carolina, you have got to get yourself in position to stop panicking and try to get that down into about the 10 to 12 point mark.
Missed them both. Trace Caton, number 21, defending here in for Utah for the first time. Carter turnaround. Pretty quick basket that time.
Right, good quick attack by North Carolina before Utah could get their defense set. Jensen getting a little more respect from Jameson now defensively. This is a small team that Utah has on the floor right now.
Miller got it.
Another rebound.
Left hand this time. Andre Miller.
Tremendous rebound, and figure he's made that over Carter, one of the best leapers in college basketball.
Well, there's some battle inside.
That's
Jensen and Jameson, and he'll call Jensen for the hold.
But you know what Rick Majerus is doing right now, Jim? He's got 3:59 to go. He's got a nice working margin, so he's got all his size sitting over on the bench resting. He's got a very small team on the game, hoping that he can go ahead and force some mismatches on the other end of the floor, even though he realizes he's given up an awful lot inside.
But one of his big guys forced to sit with 3 fouls. Ano Medela. Here's Johnson back in, the freshman from Murray, Utah. Goliak also sitting.
Everybody growing a goatee. Nice look there from the Utah players.
Jameson, again a 1-and-1, going awry. Utah ball. And a dead ball situation brings us to another timeout. Utah has never trailed, and the Utes cruising to a 15-point lead. David James Elliott, his second trip to the Final Four. There last year. Big sports fan. And here we go now with Utah leading by 15.
Jim, North Carolina shooting 32% from the field, 0 for 5 from 3. And now you've got to respect what Utah did to Arizona, holding them to 28% in that game. Really a scoring machine in Arizona. Now an open offense, no post player. Look at these screens. There's nobody in the low post. Everybody cutting, getting back screens. It's a tough offensive set for North Carolina to handle. Luckily for Phil Guthridge, he doesn't have a post man out there.
6 on the shot clock and a turnover. Check the CBS Sportsline stat of the game so far, and you'll see Carolina shooting 32%, which is exactly what Utah has held its first 4 tournament opponents to that average. Get all your tournament stats on cbs.sportsline.com.
And this is the man North Carolina has to get on track here before the half. That was a walk, bad pass inside.
Somehow it ends up in Coda's arms. Okalaja with a 3.
Oh,
Johnson.
boy.
Couple of bodies really hit hard.
5 red shirts, Jim, around that rebound for Utah. None for Wake Forest, and there's a travel. I mean, none for North Carolina. Look at this inside. But, you know, that's designed by Utah. They can afford some fouls. They can put some bodies on North Carolina. Some smart coaching by Rick Majerus.
Obviously, there was no foul there, no contact at all. The 22nd timeout called by Utah. Utah's lone national championship came in 1944 in New York City. The Utes, led by freshman Arnie Ferrin with 22, named the most outstanding player, win in overtime over Dartmouth, 42-40. You know the oddity, Stanford and Utah come here, both having only won 1 national championship, both of those having come back in the 40s, and they both beat Dartmouth to win the title.
And of course, the great story there is the fact that Utah was not even supposed to be in the NCAA tournament. They opted for the NIT, went to New York, got beat by Kentucky, sent back packing, and took Arkansas's place in the NCAA and eventually won it.
Williams missing Okalaja, long rebound. Coda open 3.
This is an amazing lack of shooting ability. Great strip.
Payton reached in, and Carter was about to go up and jam it. And a foul on Carolina's Okalaja.
Tremendous strip by Caton down on the other end of the floor because Carter would have been in a position to finish. You can see on the faces of the North Carolina players how frustrated they are.
Coming up on Pennzoil at the half, we'll go back up to Greg Gumbel, Clark Kellogg, Coach Smith, and they'll be joined by Kentucky coach Tubby Smith. That's on Pennzoil at the half. Miller at the line, shooting a 1-and-1.
Chance to move it to 17.
From this 2, make it 3.
Those are big misses if you're Rick Majerus. You want to keep expanding this lead. North Carolina hasn't been able to get untracked at all with their outside shooting. I'd sure try. There's a double screen for Williams. They're trying to get him open.
The drive, left-hander.
And again, 1 shot and done. Utah sending 5 guys to the boards. Terrific blocking out.
We saw Majerus call that 22nd timeout a moment ago. What's he looking for between now and halftime? What's he want to go in
What he
with?
wants to do is have this open offense, save his big men. They don't have to be back out on the floor the rest of the way. He's got a working margin here. He's going to make North Carolina really play this cutting half-court offense.
7 on the shot clock. Jackson will now drive, pitch to the corner. Payton, air ball.
But Rick Majerus stole about 25 seconds there, Jim.
Underneath, Carter, followed up by Jamison.
But still, North Carolina, Jim, getting nothing out of traditional half-court offense. Jamison tucking his shirt in his pants, trying to get this club fired up. Ball's in the hands of the right guy now, and Miller.
Hansen stuck underneath. Jackson would have put up the 3, but he bobbled it for a moment. Ball loose.
North Carolina can do nothing right here.
But they get the loose ball in the end. Under a minute to play in the half. Jamison, quick turnaround. Boy, that's his shot.
Exactly. I've never seen him miss that shot.
Utah on the break. Over to Caton for the layup. Assist there for Andre Miller.
Every time it seems like North Carolina has it, and even the coaching staff at the University of North Carolina, Phil Ford, with their heads down, they cannot believe that Antoine Jamison could miss a shot like that.
3-second differential, Gamecock the shot clock.
Rick Majerus telling his guys to be passive right here, not to reach out and make any steals, just be solid.
Inside Carter, Sampson.
Bill Guthridge wanting his team to press full court, but that's not really their game.
Watch Miller now, last 5 seconds. Gives it up to Caton. Steps back, takes the three.
I think it would have been smart for Miller to keep that ball himself and penetrate.
Now you see why no team scored more than 31 points on Utah in the first half this season. They hold Carolina to only 22. Now let's go down to Armin Katayan. Armin?
Rick, a virtual replay of the Arizona game, your nose-to-nose defense taking North Carolina out of its game.
Well, we're playing good D. We got to make sure we block out. They're just such tremendous athletes on these back cuts. We got to get a little bit better shot selection on there, but we've got all kinds of screwy lineups because of our foul situation. Quite frankly, I'm very happy to be where we're at right now, considering the fouls, but we got to sustain block out, and when we get the ball down on the other end, we've taken a couple bad shots. We've taken more bad shots in this first half than we may have taken in the whole WAC season.
Thanks, Rick. Back to you, Jim.
Rick Majerus. He's worn that same sweater every game this season. Utah 35, North Carolina 22. And CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship continues after this message and a word from your local station.